August 4th, 2023. It's a fairly quiet evening on Gerling Street, around early evening. Not much going on, but there are a few new things I see this morning as I wake up. I see shopping carts, one on Gerling and one on Avenue B. Perhaps they get better gas mileage than most things on wheels. Up at Sheridan Plaza, somebody has abandoned their blueberry ice cream cup in a puddle pond in the parking lot.
What the hell is this object?
Sheridan Plaza has filled up its spaces a little bit. They've always had the laundromat and the liquor store and the Chinese takeout. But there is also an Electric City Nutrition Center, and there is an Indian food takeout. And we have the dollar store, so getting odds and ends is more convenient. Breaking news on July 31st on McClellan and Eastern Avenue, a vehicle was swallowed into a pothole. And this is a pothole that's probably 6 feet deep at least. The occupant of the vehicle was okay from what I've read in the news. But this is Schenectady, New York's latest pothole. What an exhibit. I do updates on my basement periodically, but the newest addition to my basement, after all the repainting and brand new stairs and everything, is this antique Narragansett beer light. It's peeled a little bit in the lettering, but it is a plus for my basement at the JP Newz green screen studios. The best studios on Gerling Street. This is a JP Newz short on Waterford, New York. Oldest continuously incorporated village in New York State. The parks in Waterford are very well maintained. The grass is groomed all the time. The park benches are clean. There are no bird droppings on these park benches that overlook the muddy Hudson River. It's a quaint town with beautiful painted fire hydrants and Victorian-looking homes. The bridges are well constructed and sturdily built. Beautiful steel. Lots of yachts on the river in Waterford. I want to get mediumly inebriated some night at the Angry Penguin Tavern. There are lots of mom and pop stores and consignment shops throughout the main street in Cohoes. I come here to get my camera sensors cleaned so that JP Newz and its lenses can produce beautiful landscape imagery, like this church that looks like it needs a little scrubbing with Ajax. Statues of horses, sunflowers, beautiful sunflowers. Some are very tall, extremely tall, like Big Bird. There always seems to be a pair of sneakers hanging from a wire in just about every town you go through these days. And one more horse statue, which is near where the boats are. Beautiful boats. They're kind of like having another house. I'm sure they're very expensive to maintain. I'm sure it's a very expensive hobby to have a boat. You have to afford the docking fees. And the Riverside Park in Waterford is great for joggers and runners. A barge moves some tree branches from one area to another. There are many steel-girded bridges crossing the river, and you quite often see lots of joggers going over them. You don't have to be a jogger. You can also walk. Here's what happens when they let the dam flow. It goes through a few layers. I just find the noise of it very fascinating. A nice stream of water flows over this dam. And one more view of the dam. There's a man in a booth. And we close out with the barge again, moving tree debris to another place. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Every year in July in downtown Schenectady, there is a summer block party called Summer Night, where people gather in the streets and enjoy bands. They enjoy beer, wine, food, and they dance, and it's a time of jubilee in downtown Schenectady. So just sit back and enjoy the sounds and the faces of the people in their excitement and glory. July 24th, 2023, there was another festival of bands and venues in the Schenectady's Central Park. It was a real evening of rock and roll, and the Ducks were into it. And people of all nationalities walked around the pond. But I remember the days when I wanted to be a long-haired band person, musician type, but I never really quite filled the part. On the other stage, where I think they call it the Music Haven, other bands were getting set up. People were getting in their spots to enjoy the music. Some were even relaxing an awful lot. But the band played on. So for the next few moments, just enjoy this music.
Well, we've been spinning around too long. So, don't stay. The little lady, 'cause you always stay. I'm tired enough for tonight. Don't stay. The little lady, 'cause you always stay. And I'm tired enough for tonight. So calm down, just feel fine. Not every night having seen things. Well, it's hard. Calm down, you're running out. With every night having living fast. Let me hear ya.
Also in Central Park in Schenectady, somebody had left a pile of charcoal next to this portable potty house. And there's my truck, not that it really matters. But here is the site where they're building the new swimming pool for Schenectady Central Park. This is the road that runs alongside where the swimming pool is going to be. And one sole individual is walking her dog. Now, as we take a look at the old swimming pool, it's not ugly, but it doesn't really look like a swimming pool. It looks like a large fountain because of the filth you can see at the bottom of it. What a pity. As we get over into downtown Schenectady, I always enjoy pointing my camera up in the air and filming the tops of some of these buildings, especially the church steeples. And, you know, it's nice to slowly pan down and study every brick, nook, and cranny and think about how some of this stuff was built 200 years ago. Amazing. And the clock tower of City Hall is always a sight. But the flower planters on J Street are very beautiful. And even the lights along and lined with the buildings in the background are a nice sight. And people struggle to figure out how to work the parking meter. The Hamburg Street area in Rotterdam. I used to take my girlfriend dates in high school to go roller skating. I never really knew how to roller skate that good. I could go around in circles without falling down. I really wanted to go parking and neck with the would-be girlfriend, but what teenager doesn't want to do that? But I was willing to have fun because I am a gentleman and I am not all about the physical things in life. The Super 8 Hotel, as we know, has been in the news for housing the asylum seekers and migrants. I hope that this problem is going to be resolved peacefully. Now, as we get into the St. Adalbert's Cemetery, also on Hamburg Street, we can see the entrance pillars are decorated very nicely. They have like a ball on top. There is a clock, and I believe that runs on the Wi-Fi of Rotterdam. And just check out the beautiful flowers around this entrance of this cemetery. And from inside the cemetery, you can see the busy Hamburg Street. But as we walk in the cemetery and we look at these tombstones going by, we can see that many of them have got a nice shine to them. It really looks like very shiny marble. You could practically see yourself, your reflection, in some of these tombstones. But keep in mind, these are people that have passed away, some recently, some not so recently. Cemeteries are what I envision heaven to kind of look like. However, I am not a very religious person, but I am open to the idea of religion, and I do not worship Satan. I just love how I positioned my camera so this mausoleum was between these two bushes. This angel of a little girl praying is a very inspirational vision, and so is this man with the beard and Greek hairstyle. And look at this miniature statue of a man that's about as tall as the tombstones. From this angle, everything looks kind of big. The names on these tombstones are very well stenciled in. Like this one, for instance, it's the Markowicz family. There was son Robert, there is father Walter, and there's mother Jenny. Again, here is the shrine. I think this is what they call a shrine. But as we get back toward the rear part of the cemetery, it is even more peaceful back there because we're further away from the traffic. Another view facing Hamburg Street. And as we close out of this segment, we take one last final look at these tombstones with the beautiful flower arrangements on them. Here we are at the Schenectady Central Park Rose Garden, and I've just always loved this brick structure entrance of the Rose Garden. A photographer directs a young couple on how to pose for their portrait pictures. I kept my distance so that I wasn't in the way. And this looks like a very romantic image. The stairs up the hill looks like a cement escalator. And this is just one of the many roses. That's a beautiful color, beautiful yellow. People from all over every day walk around this rose garden, especially during the time of the season when it's in its prime, when 99.9% of the roses are in bloom, because that's what people want to see. They want to see them in bloom. They don't want to see them dead, where there's nothing but thorns. And I also love the water fountain and the rock formations by the tree. There are some, what this looks like to be willow trees to the left of the rose garden. And a woman exits the rose garden with her doggie as we look at one last time at some other flower arrangements with beautiful shallow depth of field in these images through JP Newz and its lenses. This is the residential street that's closest to the Schenectady Rose Garden. This has been JP Newz for July and August of 2023.